3,500 years ago, Egypt was the most powerful civilization on Earth. And at its height, it was ruled by a woman, not as a queen, not as a regent, not as a wife standing beside a king, as Pharaoh, the absolute ruler of all Egypt. Her name was Hatshepsut, and she was one of the greatest rulers in all of human history. But you have probably never heard of her, because after her death, someone tried to erase her completely. Hatshepsut was born around 1507 BC, the daughter of Pharaoh Thutmose I. When her father died, the throne passed to her half-brother Thutmose II. She became his wife, as was the custom in ancient Egypt. But Thutmose II was weak and sickly. He ruled for only a few years before he died. His heir was a young boy, Thutmose III, too young to rule, so Hatshepsut stepped in as regent, to rule in his place until he came of age. But something extraordinary happened. Hatshepsut did not step aside. Instead, she declared herself Pharaoh. She put on the double crown of Egypt. She wore the ceremonial false beard. She took all the titles of a male pharaoh, and she ruled. Not for a year, not for 5 years, for 22 years. And what she built during those 22 years was extraordinary. She launched one of the most successful trading expeditions in Egyptian history to the mysterious land of Punt, returning with gold, ivory, exotic animals, and frankincense trees. She built some of the most magnificent temples Egypt had ever seen. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri still stands today, 3,500 years later. She erected the tallest obelisks in Egypt, covered in electrum, a mixture of gold and silver, so they would catch the light of the sun and be visible for miles. Under her reign, Egypt prospered, traded, built, and grew stronger than it had been in generations. And then she died. Around 1458 BC, and Thutmose III, the boy she had kept from the throne for 22 years, finally became Pharaoh. And he was furious. What happened next is one of the most deliberate and systematic acts of historical erasure ever recorded. Thutmose ordered his workers to remove Hatshepsut from history. Every statue of her was smashed. Every image of her face was chiseled off temple walls. Every inscription bearing her name was carved out of stone. Her obelisks were not destroyed. They were too large and too sacred. Instead, he built walls around them, hiding them from view. The trading expeditions she had launched, were attributed to him. The temples she had built were attributed to him. The achievements of her entire reign were transferred to his name. For 3,000 years, it worked. Hatshepsut disappeared from history so completely that when archaeologists first began excavating Egyptian temples in the 1800s, they found statues with female bodies, but male faces and beards. They were confused for decades. It was not until 1903 that Egyptologist Howard Carter, yes, the same man who would later discover Tutankhamun's tomb, found a tomb in the Valley of the Kings that he believed belonged to Hatshepsut. But it was empty. Her mummy was missing. It took another 100 years, until 2007, for Egyptologists to finally identify her remains. She had been hidden in a different tomb, labeled simply as an unnamed royal nurse. The greatest female ruler in Egyptian history, hidden for 3,500 years, under a false identity. Hatshepsut reminds us of something important. History is not just written by the winners. It is written by the people who control the stones, the temples, the inscriptions. Thutmose had the power to chisel her name from every wall in Egypt. But he could not chisel her out of the ground. And 3,500 years later, we know her name. And we have almost forgotten his. This is facts they buried. Every week, the history they hoped you would never find. Subscribe. The facts are buried. We dig them up.